Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Lisa's just so tired right now.
Buy our merch.
I'm so sorry. I was showing a picture of our son falling asleep on the kitchen floor right now.
It's always so it's always so dramatic.
I know. Well, she should just put him to bed. Put that baby to bed.
This is for the unforgettable Tony the Lone Rider Smith.
Yes.
We should have the Lone Rider in. Hey, make sure you
the
sing
sound
in every.
Is there like a sound or something? You know what I mean? Like, what is the sound for the Lone Rider?
We'll do the intro thing. We'll put that on the playlist and shop.
Right at the intro of all this. Okay, ready? We are doing. Okay, you guys, I'm super excited for this one. This is. I want to say you didn't have to do it, the Lone Rider, but I'm very happy you did. So,
oh boy, here we go. Teacher's pet.
So he picked Earthside featuring LeJohn of Seven Dust, and it's titled Mob Mentality. But he said, sorry, a couple weeks ago you posted on Patreon a video where you said you love choreography. So this awesome song and video I know you will love. And so this is the one that he picked for us to review. And literally since I got your message, I've been so excited to hear this one. I was telling Vinny on the drive and everything.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious to hear the song. Curious. Dr. Reginald McNugget says to use the intro for Lonesome Rider by Volbeat. So we're going to have to look that up. All right, guys, here we go. The name of the song brought to us by DJ Lone Rider is... What's the name of the song?
It's called
Mob Mentality. Oh, boy. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Go! Look, babe.
I'm not hearing anything.
Neither am I.
Oh. Yes! Can you make this bigger?
Yeah. Relax. I got it. I got you. Wow, man.
comment.
And I pray for you to see I've been sheltered by my bliss. I can't praise myself at all.
Yes, they were together.
It's all at once, and it may kill me. Leave me to burn. I've lost my fire, running from the flames.
Let's go! Let's go! Shout out to Patrick Kendall. Holy moly.
That makes me very happy. That was very good. That was very good. I have no clue what the lyrics are about, so I'm excited about hearing about that. But holy moly. Okay, first, there's so many elements. I love dramatic dance. I love when there's men and women dancing together because I think that the physique of male versus female and how they complement and everything each other is just absolutely breathtaking. And then when you couple that with obviously that there was like interracial, that was even more. I wanted them couple dancing more and for longer. And I didn't like it when she pushed away from him at the end. But it was absolutely breathtaking. And when it started out as the orchestra and stuff, my mom used to try to make us a little bit more cultured by bringing us to some of those little, they had down at Bates College, they had orchestras that would show up and she wanted us to, it was so boring. I hated it. Absolutely boring. If they would have had some of this, somebody else said it. They were like, if this is the orchestra, I'd be there, like. Yeah,
we would be there every day.
Jeez, the motion between the music and wow. And yes, I told you he was capable of more.
Who?
And
LeJon?
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely.
And he came through with more here, and I even think he still has more.
Yeah, LeJon, man, he's one of those. LeJon is one of those goats that is easily missed because of what I said about the previous Seven Death song. But the guy is his versatility is off the charts, man. The shit that he can do with his voice is there's not a lot of people in the game that can do what LeJon does and do it as consistently as he has done it. He's done it for quite some time. So here are the lyrics. Let me see. Did I move that over? Yeah, I did.
I don't know why you cut it so big, baby.
Well, I'll explain to you why later. I'm just a member. I'm just a vote for. So initially, I thought that this was going to be a political song. Mob Mentality.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, this would be a political song. I'm like, why is there like interpretive dance in a political song? This should be interesting. I'm just a member. I'm just a vote for your cause. I'm just a number. Solve me as a man without resolve. Get me where you want me. I'm yours for sure. Wean me off your blinders. Left to think my thoughts are my own. On my own. So it starts off like, oh yeah, this is a political song. But then as the lyrics progressed, it really is not. Politics isn't really the issue in the song. But go ahead. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying anything. I'm just taking in this information. I don't know where this song is going, but it's not at all what I would have thought. But go ahead, carry on. So you thought it was political. I didn't know. I just enjoyed the music and I enjoyed the art form, the dance.
When you heard the title Mob Mentality, what was going through your head?
Oh, I didn't even. Honestly, there was a song that we used to listen to, Mob Beats or Mob something like that. There was a song that you rapped to or something.
Mob Deep?
Yeah, that's what came into my head. That I went to that era of my life. So when I heard the title, I didn't think anything about it. And I forgot what the title was when the song started. So
who wrote these lyrics? Is it LeJon?
It doesn't say.
Scroll up. You see what it says? View all credits.
Oh, okay.
Scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll.
Okay, you can just take over that because I don't see anything there.
It's credits right there. They don't tell us who wrote it. Okay.
The Lone Rider. Who wrote this? Do you know?
I would be extremely surprised if LeJon wrote that. Not because I don't think he can write, just because his writing style is a little bit different to me.
Okay, what is it? Keep going.
So I'm just a member. I'm a voice for your cause. I'm just a number. Solve me as a man without resolve. Get me where you want me. I'm yours for sure. Wean me off your blinders. Left to think my thoughts are my own. On my own. Finally, a moment to myself, I realize I know who I am, but not what I'm living for.
Wow.
I need a reason that isn't a rhyme. I need a meaning that isn't a reason why. So this is sort of, he's dealing with a form of existentialism here, where he's trying to figure out the purpose and ultimate meaning for life. And he's saying, you guys basically brainwashed me and then left me to think that my thoughts were really my own when you really just Inception style brainwashed me. Because notice he says,
"Oh yeah,"
he says,
without it being a ride.
He says, "Wean me off your blinders," left to think my thoughts are my own on my own. Which honestly, the most effective form of brainwashing is when you can get your target to think that your thoughts and your ideologies are their thoughts and their ideologies. You've got them. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, the very next segment says what? Ideology is a fallacy when what I believe doesn't come as a package deal. There's no borderline in your bottom line. It's a picture worth. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, then who needs scripture? I mean, he just comes out and says it right there. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, who needs scripture? With a picture's worth and feeling what we're worth, we might as well just do porn. Like, that line seems like it doesn't fit. But look at the logical progression. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. So then who needs scripture? But then, if the picture has a certain type of value, how much more, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, then what does a movie do? Mm-hmm. And then he turns down to, well, and feeling what we're worth, we might as well just do porn. Because what he's saying is, okay, so the way to attain fame and purpose and meaning is to be a media star. Oh. And that's the quickest route to being a media star, right? Like, that's how you can find significance. So
that's a lie.
So you no longer, like, you know, go to the scripture to find your significance, because that's where we find our significance, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, you're an image bearer of God. You represent God on the earth in a way that nobody else can or ever will. Mm-hmm. And from that, you get your uniqueness and your. It's a way for everybody to be special without nullifying what the concept of special actually means. So we've got an entire constructed worldview that gives us dignity and purpose and all these things. Yeah. But if you don't have that and you're in the modern world, then the way to talk about that conflict would be to say it this way. The progression is brilliant. And if you go backwards, he says, ideology is a fallacy when what I believe doesn't come as a package deal. And that's something that I struggle with a lot, not just with people, but even in our relation, you know, we talk about nuance. Mm-hmm. Because, like, for example, we're talking about Marx. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with everything that Marx said. Yep. But, like, I agree here and I don't agree here. But where we're at right now is you have to believe everything that this guy says. So if you believe anything about Marx, you're... yeah. You know, so if you say, oh, well, actually, I think Trump may have a point. Oh, no. Being a package deal. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, that's not how my mind works. Like, I believe something here, something here. I think this is good, I think that's it. But when you think that way, you become an outsider. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to say it's intellectual laziness. I just think the current zeitgeist is basically, I think people are so inundated with media that there isn't room to think and develop an actual worldview that has any nuance in it, because you're constantly in the media all the time, so you can't think for yourself, and there's never, now this is the first time in human history where you never have to be quiet. Yeah. Like, there's people, I used to know people that used to go sleep with the TV on. Yeah. Like, people can't be quiet. We can't contemplate. We can't think. And so what happens is, now when you've got these massive issues happening, because we haven't really sat and thought through our worldview very well, we take everything from what the media tells us. Like, I was talking about... Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that when you look at YouTube or anything else, like, a lot of times people are giving you their opinion. They're not talking about it in a way to teach you to think for yourself. It's just, this is what happened, and then they project, you know, they just push their opinion onto you, and then people watch those videos, and suddenly they're thinking exactly like the person that they just saw the video from, but they didn't do the work. Like, that person probably got to their conclusion by doing some work to get to where they decided what they believed. Right. They packaged it up and, you know, gave it to you, and you just took it and you just ate it, and now you're like spewing out like you're the one that did the research for that. And I think that that's probably part of the reason why I'm loving looking into philosophy right now, is because it's a lot about your own thoughts, your own digging, knowing your own self. Like, knowing your weaknesses, knowing your strengths, not lying about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very important. And I think that a lot of that is lost in our society because we're creating a world where if you disagree with someone, that's really, really bad. And like you said, you can agree with some of the stuff they said and disagree with a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah. No, that and that's how it used to be back in the day, but now it's like any sort of. I was talking to a guy who considers himself to be and he's got this opinion on this particular thing, and he hasn't read anything from those people. Mm-hmm. He literally got it all from talking heads in the media. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. You think you can have this opinion on this topic, this broad-ranging topic like this? Mm-hmm. And you haven't read the first thing from the people that are there? Like, what? Yeah. I don't understand that type of thing. But that's where we are right now. And a lot of it has to do with the fact, hey, Vin, not everybody's blessed to be able to work from home and stay up and wake up whenever you want and whatever. So now I have a lot more time, but this is the first time in my life I've been able to do that. I've been pretty busy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I don't even... It's very, very hard to develop a thought process, Like, it's extremely difficult. Like, Ben Webb, for example, is like one of these beautiful, brilliant people. Always going.
People are like, you mean the Ben Webb?
Yeah. I'm not talking about the persona. I'm talking about the person. And he's always looking out for the underdog, which of course has no basis in his claimed worldview. I don't even believe what he says about what he says he believes or doesn't believe. Mm-hmm. But he has no way of grounding that. He just, that's what and that's human beings, man. We're all walking contradictions. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was clicking on TED Talks today because actually one of my patrons had pointed me in the direction of an interesting TED Talk that I'm going to look into tonight. But I was on that site and I saw this one that was like a 5-minute discussion on toilets. And I'm like, how could you talk for 5 minutes about the history of toilets? How strange. So I clicked on it. The kids, circled around me to watch it. And there was I guess at the beginning, like they used to have like a room that was like full of toilets all together, and people would just sit there and talk to each other while they were using the bathroom. And it was normalized as your society. Like that's how it was.
Wait, what society was this again?
I think it was Rome, but I can't really remember.
Oh, yes.
So they had all of their
Rome,
all their toilets set like that. But I was thinking, as odd as it is, like we can't imagine that because that seems like absolutely whatever because of how our society is. But if your life revolved, like now we can live in our separate houses, we can go shopping with headphones on, we can drive in our own car, you can essentially, you can be on Facebook, and if somebody doesn't like something that you say or you don't like what they say, you can just pop them off your friends list. There's, we can separate ourselves from everything that we don't like or makes us uncomfortable or makes us angry, where if this is the public toilet,
then find an echo chamber for everybody else who agrees.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody has to use the bathroom, so you landed in there, and people were talking, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not like you could not go to the bathroom so I think that because we've created a society that's more segregated and separated, and it's been convenient at the same time, it does make it so that way we are underdeveloped in certain things we should be more developed in, and I think that is. Not that toilets is the factor into why we've got cancel culture, but I do think that the switching of those things, like I'm not saying we should go back to that. I'm just saying that there has to be places where discussion can take place in the old-fashioned way where we bounce ideas off each other and we can agree and disagree and it doesn't get violent. It's literally about finding truth, not about being right.
That is such an important line. Or observation when he was talking about, not having any nuance, like it's a package deal, everything comes as a package deal. That is the ideology of cancel culture. Mm-hmm. So they said one thing wrong 7 years ago.
That's the thing.
Or a year ago, or yesterday.
I joked with Vinny that I was going to get like a political job at some point in my life. And then, I mean, it's literally a joke because we have so many videos that I'm sure I've said something that was horrible that could get dragged up, 6 years from now. And then they would be like, this woman's not worthy.
Right. And it's like, oh, this person is a racist. They said one thing a year ago. That makes them a racist. Or one thing 7 years ago, that makes him a racist.
I guess people don't grow. They don't change.
They don't change. They don't grow. And
although, maybe it's projection. The people that are trying to cancel, maybe they're assuming other people are not moving and growing because they're not.
We talked about this all last year. All these people that were calling all the Trump followers racist were some of the most racist, horrible. And there was no self-awareness because they were like, well, I'm on the left. And again, it's a package deal. So that must mean I'm not racist because everything is a package deal. No, motherfucker. The guy in Tennessee with the MAGA hat who's just trying to do the best that he can may be a really awesome person, and you, with all your performative acts of solidarity, you might be the very racist that you're accusing other people of.
It's so interesting.
I hate the cancel culture shit. I cannot tell you. I've always hated it. Like Roseanne, she was drunk and whatever. She put this thing up and let's end her show. They ended her show. They almost ended and then there was an outcry. People were like, "Are you kidding me? You're gonna make everybody lose a job because of a tweet?" And so they killed her in the show so that they could keep the show going. And the name of the show is fucking Roseanne.
I mean,
and then they killed her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we gonna learn? You know how much shit I've learned since we started the channel? You know how much I've learned from Ben? Ben is like the primary one that should be canceled.
Right.
And it is relevant because if you look here, he says it explicitly here. He said, I've been sheltered by my bliss, which you know what he's saying because they say ignorance is bliss.
Ooh. Yeah,
right?
That's true, yeah.
So what he's saying is he's been sheltered by his ignorance, right? And so I feel like there are certain elements in our society, and I'm not going to name them, but there's certain elements in our society that purposely work to keep their folks ignorant.
Oh, 100%.
So as to control them, etc. And this is a person who's like waking up from this and saying, and Tony gave us a little bit more context. So the guitarist wrote this as his master's thesis, which is mind-blowing to me. That's
Who
amazing.
did? Who wrote it? The guitarist? Yeah.
The guitarist, yeah.
Another thing that's crazy about it is that if you cancel everybody or you silence everybody that has differing views from you, so you cancel her show, and then other people that are watching are like, well, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to get canceled.
Right.
So instead of talking stuff through, they hold it in. So you essentially really don't know where people are at because people are so afraid of the consequences of what they have to say. You're better off. We do this with the kids. I've even jumped in on this parenting theology, ideology. It's if you have a child and they tell you something crazy and you react, oh my gosh, how could you be blah, and you freak out, then they're going to take that, and the next time they have something crazy to say, they're going to hold that shit in. They're going to talk to their friend about it instead of talking to you. I want my kids coming to ask me the questions.
Correct.
Talk to me about it. So I'm not going to freak out when you ask me anything. Anything my kid asks me, I'm going to answer those questions. We're going to talk through it. There's an open door policy, so that way they, they're in a safer place. But if you react and freak out, then people are going to be silent. And then you can actually have much more dangerous ideologies floating around in people's heads that are downright dangerous.
Yeah. And what happens is it creates a sort of virtual underground.
Exactly.
Which is what we
Of
saw
course.
with the QAnon stuff.
Which is also why Trump got in. Everybody was shocked,
you
right?
Shoved all those people out of the public square. You canceled them. You deplatformed whatever.
Yep.
And then they all coagulated. But instead of diluting the crazy with rational people who could talk, there was undiluted craziness on that app. It was undiluted. It was. I mean, you saw it. I showed you. If you middle America, you saw the screenshots. Look, this is not about politics. This is all ultimately about ideology and a person's struggle to be part of a society while simultaneously having individual ideas, thoughts, etc., which is extremely difficult to pull off, especially if on top of that you're trying to figure out what your purpose is. He's wrestling with nihilism as well, because he says, what's the point if we're all just going to fade away?
Yeah.
And so now he's got that sort of Damocles, this impending, the reality that all of us deal with literally on a daily basis at the subconscious level. You're going to die. Like, I have one less day left on this earth than I did before. I'm closer to the time when I'm going to meet my creator than I've ever been in my life. So I'm the youngest I will ever have been yesterday. That's gone. It's not coming back. Time only goes one way in this current dimension. So, like, that is also interspersed through the song. So on the one hand, he's like trying to struggle with all these people trying to brainwash him with religion. That's why he talks about scripture. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, what do I need scripture for? So he's trying to figure out his worldview and find some purpose. Well, simultaneous to that, he's got this thing in the back of his head: you're going to die. Everybody's going to die. Well, then what's the point? How do I find meaning? That type of thing. So this is probably the most introspective song I've heard about this particular issue, and it's almost prophetic because this is 2015.
Oh, wow.
And the song is way more pertinent in 2015 than it was than it is now. Adrian says, as a leftist, we call the people who cancel others woke scolds, but let's not forget the rightoids and the satanic panic in the McCarthy era. Well, the satanic panic is one of the things that I found out about during this channel.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Because I must have been around during the satanic panic, but I was a Christian in a Christian household, so we were
part of the panic.
Right. And we didn't see.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I heard that Dungeons and Dragons, you know,
Yeah.
I used to think that you would like fall into the board and end up in some demonic
You mean like,
realm,
I
like
thought you opened it up
Jumanji.
to your room and the demons could come into your room?
Yeah. And like, but it's true. Like, if you look at the satanic panic, that's a perfect example of this brainwashing that happens, where it's the package dealism. So if the crazy preacher stands up and says that your next door neighbor is in the woods doing all these horrible rituals designed to kill babies or whatever, you're just supposed to believe it, and you're not supposed to question him and all. Well, he's one, you can't question him, and you're supposed to believe all this nonsense. And well, that had severe consequences on the lives of people.
Yep.
Like, we destroyed people's lives with this type of thinking. I mean, he doesn't address the satanic panic, but I do think it's important. And obviously, we know that cancel culture doesn't go one way, because, you know, we've seen how these people reacted to this Olympian girl. Get her off the team! Because she didn't want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and all the people got triggered and said, get her off the team! Instead of saying, okay, why are these people so upset?
I know.
See, that's the thing that, like, really, I remember when Ellen came out. So Ellen was really one of the first celebrities. Say what you want about Ellen. I don't know what she is in her personal life, okay, whether she's really a nice person or not. But I do know that Ellen took a risk for her people. Because she knew, and that was the end of her show. She paid the price. She absolutely did. She didn't get her show back till like 10 years later. Wow. And she lost her show. So who canceled Ellen? Now, here's the kicker. It wasn't right-wing Christians who canceled Ellen. Ellen did that shit in 1997.
Yeah, okay.
The reason her show got canceled is because America stopped watching. The entire country was not where we needed to be with LGBT issues. So it was the ratings. The ratings dropped precipitously. And it wasn't like churchgoers were the people watching Ellen. It was just America. So at the time, America just wasn't. But the reason that now we can have a show like Schitt's Creek is because Ellen did that. You see what I'm saying? Whether or not you believe that homosexuality is good and right, that's not my point. My point is, it's people who are in the closet and won't come out are the norm. People like Ellen are the exception. She was willing to sacrifice herself for the sake of her folks.
I just think it's like literally crazy that the entire country reacted like that, especially because, so you do all this research on pornography and the effects that it has on a society, and when you see the top searches and the sexual proclivities that people have, it's like, wow, you had a really high horse that you were sitting on when you sat down and judged her for being gay, when you're in, you're good with all this other
Yeah, you're watching all this barely legal shit, and all the gay people are going to hell, right?
Right. It's just like...
Sick.
Now, obviously, as a Christian...
Sick shit.
We follow God's law as far as homosexuality goes, but there are a lot of other horrible things that, like, she could be, let's say she was in a loving relationship with someone that she loved, and they loved her, and
she was based Portia de Rossi, I think her name was.
I mean, we were on the Christian side at that point, so I wouldn't have even known that, what type of situation
you
she
were
was
on a cultural Christian side.
That's what I mean.
Because Jesus would have took the time to know the woman's name and loved her and all that. But yeah, go ahead.
But so it's just like, here she is, she's in this loving relationship, blah, 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 and you have all these other people engaging in all this craziness, and the numbers for, like, rape in marriages or different stuff like that, like, all this stuff is going on. All these abuses are taking place, but you're not going to watch her show anymore because she happens to be a guy. It's just unbelievable, like, the hypocrisy. Like, hypocrisy, yeah, but just, like, the two-faced nature of it, like, but you know what? Maybe that goes, people don't know themselves.
But that goes back to the package deal thing. So we, because we're Christians, we have to be completely against Ellen. We have to hate her. Mm-hmm. Or because we're allies, that means we have to pretend that the Bible doesn't say what it says about homosexuality. Everything's got to be a package deal. There's no middle road, nothing. It just one or the other. And there are some issues, by the way, make no mistake, where there is no gray area. Mm-hmm. But God almighty, nuance. So he's saying, I need a reason that isn't a rhyme. I need a meaning that isn't a reason why. I'll leave you all with a scar, a permanent mark for when death do its part, because it's hard to face, knowing we'll all fade away. Oh, aimless, I aim for the rafters. Smart line. I'm aimless, but I'm aiming for the rafters. The rafters, it's baseball. So it's like, and you hit the ball all the way up to the rafters. You're swinging for a home run.
I knew it was high.
So he's saying, I'm aimless, but I'm aiming for the rafters. Not knowing what I am after this life. So shameless, I'm chasing my rapture, but what does it matter? And without a warning, it ends. And then they end the song abruptly without a warning, which is the point of, like, the thing is, like, life ends without warning. Mm-hmm. And so he's trying to figure out, how do I have meaning if I'm just here and then I'm gone?
Yeah.
And of course the answer is, there would be no meaning if you were here and gone and that's all there was. But that's not all there is, mashallah. So you do have meaning. Bless God. But you can't if you separated yourself from the person who made you and gave you that meaning. So there's that. I gotta say, I gotta challenge people though. It's like, I think all of us have to really, really. When I was a kid, I still do it from time to time. I used to sit and, like, stare at myself for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'd look at myself because I was trying to figure myself out, because I was having all these out of body kind of, we've talked about that thing that I generally don't talk about, but the Hoffman thing is kind of giving me some context for that, actually. But I used to look at myself and be like,
who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Trying to figure myself out, and then I'm like, am I my face? And I would, like, touch my face. I'm like, am I my face? Like, what is me? Like, when I say me, when I say I, what am I talking about? Am I talking about, why do I say my hand? So, like, what is the my? Right? Like, all of us know that we're more than just our bodies. It's very simple. You say, you hit my hand. Wait a second. What is you and what is your hand? You're saying that there's something different about you. So, a lot of people say, hey, if there is proof for God, I would believe in him. I don't think that that's true for everyone. I don't think that that's true. And I would challenge people. I would say, look yourself in the mirror for a good 10 minutes and ask yourself, is the lack of evidence really the issue? And the other question would be, whatever the truth, here's this. Are there certain truths that you don't want to be true? And if you answer no, you're a fucking liar. But I really think that that's important to think about.
Yeah.
How willing are you to follow the truth wherever it actually leads? That's a very, very important question. And I think that a lot of times when we talk with atheism, Christianity, or whatever, the atheist is on the offense and the Christian's on the defense all the time. And, you know, I don't have a problem like playing, like I like to play whatever, but at the end of the day, when we're talking about like cosmic ultimate issues, would you be willing to follow the truth if the truth was completely contrary to everything that you liked and believed? And that's not a question you can answer in a chat on YouTube. It's something where you really have to kind of almost turn off the noise, turn off the media, and really look at yourself.
Absolutely.
You know? So, anyway, I love the song. I love the video. There were so many things going on in that song. And most of the time, I don't like when there's like way too much, because I'm like, yo, that's way too ambitious, and you don't have it like that. But between the director, they used LaJohn perfectly. Like, he didn't like completely overshadow the song. I was looking at the comment section. People were like, where's the metal? They were selective with when they applied the metal.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important for what they were trying to accomplish. Anybody who has a guitar, you can write heavy shit. It's not hard to write heavy shit. She's seen me compose. You've seen me like
in a few moments.
I'll just be like strum, and it's not even amplified.
It's actually pretty cute. So sometimes he'll be like in bed, and then he'll start like doing this little tune, and then he'll take out his phone and he records himself doing the little tune, and then I'll see him playing stuff on the guitar, and he's playing that little tune. It's very cute. And you're right, it doesn't have even and it's not even amped up or anything.
No,
it's got like one missing string and everything.
Yeah, it's not amplified, but I know what it's gonna sound. I'm like, oh, this shit's gonna be heavy.
Then when he amplifies it, I'm like, what?
And then when Peter adds drums to it,
and then it's just ridiculous.
SubhanAllah.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I'll be playing it and it's just the strings, and she's like, she's like, yeah, babe, it's gonna be great. Then she hears it, she's like, oh my god. So like, playing heavy music, yeah, it's fun, but they did a good job trying to figure out when to do it and when not to do it.
There was so much there. There was the way that the orchestra was working their instruments, and you felt like that you were at some, like I felt like I was in the seats there.
Yeah.
And then the dancers and those red curtains, just the beauty of the whole thing. I think that the more aspects of art that you can pack into a single viewing, it enhances the experience. Like, they used to, once in a while, there would be this guy that would come to our church, and while the pastor was preaching, he was like painting this picture, and you had no clue what he was doing, because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And there was no YouTube at the time, so it's not like you could have seen it on YouTube and knew what was coming. So he'd paint this whole picture, you're totally confused, and then at the last minute, he'd turn the whole thing over, and it was like this crazy picture, Jesus dying on a cross, or I don't know, whatever was the topic, and then you were just blown away. And I just remember thinking, how much easier, and maybe I have ADD, I don't really know. Like, it was so much easier to listen to the sermon because there was art taking place at the same time the words were coming forward. And so, and I'm pretty sure they had somebody playing an instrument too that just kind of made a sweetness through the whole thing. So I'm a big fan of the more the merrier when it comes to art. You know, I liked the part where they kind of focused on her legs, her calves. And you just saw, like, because she was on her tippy toes, so you saw like the muscles of her calves, and like I said before, the muscular female and the muscular male bodies side by side, it's just the differences. It's very absolutely beautiful. And so I loved the way that they did that. I loved all of that. That was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a video that did all of it. You know, I'm heavy on the lyrics. I generally, you know, even if it's an official video, like the few ones that we do that don't get blocked, and this one's not going to get blocked, bless God. I'm more focused on the lyrics, but going back and forth, seeing the artistry, all of it, it's an 11 for me, man.
Oh,
it's 11 for me because the whole thing, it's funny. The whole thing is a package.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And they just did a damn good job. This is one of the best, just overall best theatric things I've ever seen. And it's something where, like, when you're Remember a couple nights ago we were cooling, we were listening to something, we were just watching the
Stars.
shapes on TV and all that shit.
Was it when the stars were playing for
Yeah,
us?
we're like, yo, the stars, bro. Like this shit, like that song is like makes the cut for one of those kind of nights.
Oh, yeah.
It really does
Yeah.
to me. So,
Yep.
yeah, man, I love that. I love it's just this Tony kid is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'd agree with that.
I'm just very, very happy that we found that one because it's LeJean and I didn't know.
No, and it was so nice of you to show me something that you knew that was like on my alley. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I know.
it's special.
That's good.
It's special.
That's good. Shout out to the big homie. Yeah, that's an 11, guys. That's an 11. Period.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Shout out to the big homie BC.
Vin out.
Oh, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Down.